So, you want to race with the National Hot Rod Association's Pro Modified class? No problem. All it takes is a lot of money, some skill behind the wheel, and the ability to deal with this guy.
I'm going to say right now, in front of God and everybody, I am a badass.
Within the NHRA is a class of car that defies convention. Door slammers with nitrous, turbos, blowers. These are the Mavericks. This is Pro Mod. Auto Plus Raceway in Gainesville, Florida is annually the kickoff to the National Hot Rod Association Pro Modified Championship Tour, and we're ready to herald in 2014. We've already seen some outrageous action during qualifying, but brand new rules instituted by the NHRA to make things closer between the turbo, nitrous, and supercharged cars, and new, younger, improved drivers are going to be the big stories.
Next up, the quarterfinals.
More than 20 years experience for Mike Castellana in unlimited door slammer drag racing. Steve Whiteley is in his first season. They leave the starting line. It's a great side-by-side drag race, but Castellano wins on a massive hole shot. He left 7/100ths of a second ahead of Whiteley, who was 5/100ths of a second quicker. 24 thousandths of a second at the finish line. Now it's a matchup of the two team cars of the Agave Underground Tequila operation owned by Mike Ivey. It's Steve Matusek and Danny Rowe.
Obviously, we're both competitive and we really enjoy racing, but it was the first time we got to run against each other in a round of eliminations. And you know, it was kind of funny because we both had our little bits and pieces of what we were going to go out there and do.
When I get in the car, turn the radio on, have the helmet on, and he's singing to me.
You know, Steve was trying to do a longer burnout.
And then out of the corner of my eye, I see he coasts further than I do. And I'm like, damn. So put it in reverse, you open the door, you start backing up, then we're racing going backwards.
Both trying to get after the tree, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, I really enjoy working with Steve. He's a great guy.
And he's like a brother. Everything we do is a competition. You know, I get the best equipment. We have a lot of fun with it. And the goal is to make us both better.
He really loves the sport as much as I do. He does a great job inside that race car, so which is great for the team. But I want to kick his ass either way. That's the bottom line. You know, it doesn't matter who it is, Steve Matusek or Tricky Ricky. I want to kick his ass too.
That was Ricky Smith himself in the background cautioning Danny Rowe. You may not want to go much further with that description. Here we go. Danny Rowe and Steve Matusek, the Agave Underground team cars. They've left the line, but this is a horsepower battle. Oh, driver's side window comes apart on Steve Matusek's machine. It was Danny Rowe simply overpowering his opponent.
It's got to be inferior equipment. The window blows out. I run a slower ET. I mean, come on. Is it a fix or isn't it? You tell me.
This psychological battle in which neither driver is willing to stage first is really how Ricky Smith got his nickname.
We used to play the staging line battles years ago, you know, and stuff. Even back when I was running super stock, we were playing battles. But got into pro stock and stuff like that, and there was a guy around home running an auto parts store. Well, he would start hollering on the PA at Tricky Ricky Smith. That was the way he said it. Tricky Ricky. It stuck with me.
It sure did, and it's still continuing to this moment. Pat Musey behind Ricky Smith, still waiting for somebody to stage, and that somebody is Troy Coughlin. Now Ricky Smith still takes as much time as he can to go in. A very slight hole shot for Ricky Smith, and a big wheel stand will end it for Troy Coughlin. Ricky unloads a 591, low ET of the round.
Now we advance to the semifinals.
Castellana, a past winner of just about every event on the NHRA Pro Modified Tour. Camiso, a veteran supercharged driver. A great drag race, but Castellana stretches the lead to the finish line and wins, both drivers running well off their previous pace. Well, we found out he doesn't like to go in first in the last battle. Let's see if we have another one of those burn-down starting games. Nope. They leave the starting line, and it is a great drag race to the finish line. Ricky Smith wins on another hole shot. 4/100ths of a second advantage off the starting line, and it was the closest drag race of the day.
And in the finals,
One of the cagiest veterans against one of the best natural drivers. Remember, Castellana is known for brutal reaction times. Ricky Smith stages first, and Castellana leaves the line with a .004 reaction time and runs low elapsed time of eliminations. Shannon Jenkins and the Speed Tech Nitrous Solutions crew goes crazy. What a victory for the New Yorker.
You go 0-0 and you hole shot the big guy.
Okay. I don't know what the lights were. I know I left pretty good, but I don't even know what the car run. What did we run?
586.
Okay. My crew, I'm telling you, they did a great job. We struggled a little bit, but they busted their butt and got us into the finals, and here we are.
Inside Drag Racing is being brought to you by ARP, the world leader in racing faster technology, and by Agave Underground, 100% Agave Tequila, and by Precision Turbo and Engine, the winning edge in boosted performance, and by Automotive. We know it, we race it, we live it. Welcome back to Inside Drag Racing's review of the 2014 NHRA Real Pro Mod season. We moved to Houston Raceway Park for the second race. Among the top teams on the circuit is Team Agave Underground, owned by Danny Rowe and crew chief by Jimmy Rector. Let's find out how they teamed up.
I was very fortunate that Jimmy Rector had been tuning a lot of really fast cars, but at that time wasn't really happy in the position that he was in. And so I flew down to meet him at a racetrack down in Jackson. We sat on the guardrail and we talked about, what we're both looking for out of a program. And probably within 20 minutes or 30 minutes, we realized it was a great fit. And we went literally from there to walking across the pits and found a car that we liked. And we actually purchased a car right at the same spot. And it's been a great team. Jimmy Rector's an amazing man.
At the end of the last year, I just started to develop a relationship with Danny Rowe and his team and Jimmy Rector, and the question came up about, possibly driving the second car, and initially I thought they were joking.
No, there are now 2 Agave Underground team cars, but bear in mind, both these team crew chiefs have won world championships in the alcohol funny car division in the past. Identical reaction times, and this is a door-to-door drag race. Unbelievable! Danny Rowe scores the win by 23 thousandths of a second. Well, it's just as exciting for Pete Farber and the CRC Brake Clean sponsored 1970 Dodge Daytona Charger. And we've got another great side-by-side drag race. What a battle! Steve Matusik wins by 17 thousandths of a second. The replay shows it was brutally close.
Next up, the quarterfinals.
Well, no question, Mike Janis has to prepare himself because this beautiful purple machine tuned by Jeff Pierce has already clocked a career best elapsed time during this event. The hole shot goes to Minix, but here comes Janis and barely secures the victory to advance to the semifinal round. And interestingly, I only see one parachute fully deployed on Ron Minix's Camaro, and he's trying to stop it from going off the end, and it's in the sand trap. The pea gravel pit that indeed slows errant race cars in situations just like this. What a tough break. World champion Ricky Smith in the IDG Camaro takes on Danny Rowe, and Rowe's crew chief Jimmy Rector knows this could be a war.
We got a nitrous car that's 200 pound lighter here this pass, and all of a sudden they can run 248, so they've cried and they got where they want now, so we got to go see if we can outrun them.
Ricky Smith is a pain in the, once again, but he's a great racer, and we're going to go out there and do what we have to do. We just make sure that nobody's playing head games and go out there and race for like we need to race. That's what we're going to do in the next round.
I ain't gonna tell you what I'm gonna do.
That's why they call him Tricky Ricky. The IDG Camaro, it looks like there is a problem with the IDG Camaro. They're pushing Ricky Smith back. The car's not even running anymore. It's gonna be a single run, I think, for Danny Rowe. And a tire shaking shutoff run at that. Ricky Smith is mad, and not just at himself. He's shouting a few opinions at Rowe's crew.
In the semifinals,
Mike Ivey of Agave Underground Tequila watches as Danny Rowe stages up against Castellana here in the semifinal round. A huge hole shot for the nitrous car. Does Danny Rowe have enough to get around Mike Castellana? No! Castellana wins on a massive hole shot, 595 to a losing 592. It was 13 thousandths at the finish line. Nothing against Steve Matusik, but remember that Mike Janis won last year's NHRA U.S. Nationals at Indianapolis. And indeed, Matusik is oh no, Matusik leaves the starting line before the Christmas tree is even activated. Janis shuts the engine down at 1,000 feet. He knew he could save the parts.
and in the finals,
Mike Janis started this 2014 season without a major sponsorship. He's here on his own dime. Mike Castellana still has Speed Tech Nitrous Solutions and his own Western Beef supermarkets paying most of the bills. But here we are in the final round. Blown versus nitrous oxide injection. Oh, Castellana throws it away on a 9,000ths of a second red light, and he even runs quicker. Sideways in the shutdown area, but it doesn't matter now.
What a day. You've won it in a couple different ways. It was kind of an ugly run, of course, you got around, and then with Mike there, he went red, but you still went down 592.
Did it?
Very
Okay.
solid run, 244.
Yeah, it was nice and solid, nice smooth, and that's all we backed it down just a little bit. Believe it or not, when we seen the weather coming in, I guess it was a good move. I can't believe it.
The NHRA Pro Modified Series brought to you by RPM. Real Pro Modified moves to Atlanta Dragway in Commerce, Georgia, which has already presented some fantastic track conditions.
And the track is just wonderful. Air is just wonderful here. So,
did you feel it when you left?
oh man, it really pulled. Yeah, it really pulled. Actually, we blew the window out. I don't know if you knew that. The driver's window blew out on that pass.
This track is definitely throwing us for a loop. It was a lot better than we thought it was going to be. So we were overpowering the track yesterday. So we backed it down and took gear ratio out like you would normally do, and went into a weak shake. So just got to roll the dice on this one.
But it was Ricky Smith who led qualifying at 579, 250 miles per hour.
Turbos move on top end, right?
They used to, but that Ricky Smith back halfed us and outmired us, so there's something there.
The nitrous-injected car in the far lane takes on the supercharged entry. Whoa, we've got problems for Dan Stevenson. He's hanging on, but makes guardrail contact nonetheless. Stephen Whiteley stops on the racetrack. He was on the brakes that hard, trying to avoid hitting the Chicago crane operators' nitrous-injected Camaro. Let's take another look, and you can see Stevenson's car shaking the tires sideways, and then it begins sliding and trying to get airborne. It never does leave the ground completely, but it does impact the wall.
Let's move now to the quarterfinals.
Just about every driver has had some kind of problem negotiating the starting line here. Tire shake has been the theme of this round, but we've got a rematch of the most dramatic battle of the year coming up. Remember when Ricky Smith and Troy Coughlin were engaged in a 1-minute burn down at the season opening NHRA Gator Nationals? Will they play games again this time? Ricky Smith's nitrous oxide injected IGG Camaro and Troy Coughlin's Jegs.com sponsored Proline twin turbocharged powered Corvette now sit in the pre-staged beams. Who's gonna go in first this time? It's Ricky Smith. But Coughlin's taking his time going in. Wow. And Coughlin is out of it early. Ricky Smith goes to the semifinals, but I can promise you he's not gonna be happy about that little starting line game.
Well, he had you off the line, and he shook. You didn't.
Yeah, well, he got a button in the car too, Ted. You know, that makes a big difference. You bracket racing out here with them cars, you got a button, you think your thumb ain't quicker than your foot. Plus, he's up there flicking a light, and he does it every time he runs me. I have a problem with it, but I don't have a problem with it, I mean, he does it all the time, and I expected it, but I ain't gonna give it up,
He didn't learn it from you, did he?
He might have.
Now you're once again on board with the world champion. and the world's quickest and fastest nitrous oxide injected quarter-mile drag machine, Ricky Smith, as he lines up against Danny Rowe in the Agave Underground Tequila Camaro. Jimmy Rector, the crew chief, points at driver Danny Rowe and says, "You gotta put this guy down now." A little bobble from Danny Rowe, and that's all Ricky Smith needed as he again produces the quickest elapsed time and fastest speed of the round. This is it, the final round at the third event of the 2014 NHRA RPM Pro Mod season. And problems instantly for Vaughn Smith. Ricky charges across the finish line. He drops the parachutes and negative G-forces, throws everything to the front of the car. He is once again in the winner's circle.
Inside Drag Racing has been brought to you by ARP, the world leader in racing faster technology, and by Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radios since 1977, and by Steele Rubber Products, quality crafted parts and weather stripping, and by Bora, the world's most winning exhaust.
Ricky Smith's world record-setting performances at the most recent Pro Modified event have caused the National Hot Rod Association itself to levy a 50-pound weight against the nitrous oxide injected Pro Modifieds, one of which Ricky Smith drives, and he's not happy.
They're lazy ass people working on them blowers and turbo cars, and I ain't taking it back.
Now bear in mind, Ricky Smith was one of the top 4 qualifiers, all of whom ran 5.85 seconds, so adding 50 pounds to the nitrous combination appears to have made for great parity in this class. They leave the line, no tire shake on either side of the racetrack. Ricky Smith is behind, and Jason Hamstra pulls off the upset of the drag race on a hole shot. Unbelievable.
Good race, Ricky. Stay away from me. Huh? What'd I do?
You heard me. Just stay away from me.
What'd I do, man?
Same thing the rest of you damn guys do.
I didn't do nothing, man.
No, you didn't do nothing. Just like the rest of them, laying around and wanting damn weight took off somebody that works all winter. You know what you done. You do too. Just stay away from me, okay? Stay away from me.
I'm staying away. I don't know what you're talking about, man. Stay away.
Wake up.
Hey, you get to save a stamp on the Christmas card list this year.
Yeah, I guess so, apparently.
Brian Lonas pulls the line of the event there.
In the quarterfinals,
Clint Satterfield in the BAC Enterprises 69 Pontiac Firebird out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Satterfield is definitely a hardcore drag racer when it comes to putting everything he has into his operation of multiple race cars. But there you see the one and only Dr. Howard Moon, partner in racing with driver Vaughn Smith now for a quarter century in the Alanabi Racing Team's supercharged Chevy Camaro. Vaughn Smith is on a good run. Satterfield drifts to the outside and gets completely sideways. He makes a little bit of guard wall contact, but I think there might have been an engine problem there with Vaughn Smith in the other lane. There's a shot of the damage.
let's move to the semifinals.
The turbocharged cars and the nitrous oxide injected machines have fallen by the wayside, and our final 4 is comprised solely of supercharged methanol burning cars, including Dr. Moon's Rage, which had a little engine work done.
Well, we just burned up number 4 cylinder. I mean, it's been picking on one every once in a while, and we're not exactly sure what the problem is, but Howard and the rest of these guys have been down this road many times. It's no big deal. We'll fix it. These things, you just put a new sleeve in it. Pop sleeve out, pop sleeve in. It's kind of like a fuel thing, and we're pretty good at it. We can do it like a fuel team.
2 good launches, but Latino is drifting to the outside of the lane, and it will be Vaughn Smith victorious, advancing to a final round yet again, and Dr. Moon says we'll take it. The final 2 drivers here at Englishtown, New Jersey to determine this NHRA event's Pro Modified winner. It'll be the Alanabi Camaro and Jason Hamstra's Ford Mustang. Vaughn Smith, who has won in everything from Pro Modifieds to supercharged alcohol funny cars to supercharged dragsters, but Jason Hamstra, although not as well known in NHRA competition, has been a big winner in other series of Pro Modified race cars. They leave the line, but problems for Jason Hamstra, and this is going to be a big, big victory for Vaughn Smith and crew chief Dr. Howard Moon.
The all or not again.
Ricky Smith says last time at Atlanta, he's like, I didn't know if I was going to get another one. He's at 60. Well, I got news for you. You don't know if you're going to get one at 50, 40, 30, or 20 either. So, thank Jesus Christ. It's cool.
Welcome, everybody, to the fabled racetrack known as Thunder Valley. This is Bristol Dragway, and in fact, a track operating in its 50th consecutive year of competition. Qualifying in conditions as high as 4,000 feet above sea level resulted in damage like this manifold explosion experienced by Mike Castellana. But that's the trick racing here at Bristol. Tuning ability and driving performance are key here. And the top three combinations in this field, turbocharged, nitrous, and supercharged, qualified within 1/100th of a second of each other in the top four. And problems for Troy Coughlin, a huge upset here as Jim Loretta, spouting fire across the finish line, defeats the 2012 world champ and one of this year's toughest drivers. It is the reigning world champion and current point leader Ricky Smith, who surprisingly qualified only 10th in this field, against Steve Matusik, the driver of the Agave Underground Tequila team car in the far lane. These two only qualified 7/1000ths of a second apart, so nobody knows how this one's going to end up. They leave the starting line, and Ricky Smith has to get in and out of the throttle. What an upset! With Troy Coughlin and Ricky Smith out of the field, the door is wide open for this man, Mike Janis from upstate New York, and the machine that bears the name of the company created by his father, James Janis, and Tony Sentra back in 1958, Jansen Automotive. He'll be alongside Stephen Whiteley, the young rookie from Grand Junction, Colorado, who qualified 5 positions ahead of Janis, but now he smokes the tires. And this one's gone to Mike Janis, who with that victory takes over the #1 position in the point standings.
We're just happy we won that round, and old Steve here, my buddy Steve, took care of Ricky for me, so things are looking good right now.
Now the signal goes out to fire him up for the final round of the NHRA Pro Modified Series here at Bristol, Tennessee and Thunder Valley Dragway. Pete Farber's CRC Brake Clean Dodge Daytona Charger lines up with Steve Matusik in the Agave Underground Tequila Camaro. Neither driver will change the way things are in the point standings. Mike Janis will leave this racetrack as the point leader, but both these drivers have fought all day for a national event win. Matusik is all over the racetrack, and Farber puts down a 6.08 second run to win his first NHRA National Event title with crew chief Al Billis. What a job! And finally, it dawns on Farber just what he has accomplished.
What an accomplishment for CRC Brake Clean Daytona. My family, my wife at home, all the guys on the crew, Al Billis, Dan Page, race cars, everybody who's helped me. Man, we got a good power, we got a good car. NHRA, it's just awesome to be here, guys. It's awesome.
That concludes a look at the season's first half. Be sure to tune in to Inside Drag Racing next week for a review of the final 5 races.